Thank you. Okay, we're at 9:47 and I'm going to call the committee for the whole meeting to order. For anyone who has joined us online, just apologies for us running a couple minutes behind. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are privileged to meet on the unceded and ancestral territories of the Snohomish and Stattleyan nations. With that, we have an amended agenda to be approved. We have moved feeding futures into the committee of the whole. So that's what's been changed since these were initially sent out. So if anyone is prepared to make that motion.
Sure. That the amended agenda of this meeting be approved.
Thank you, Cynthia. Second for that. Thank you, April. Any objections? Seeing none. We don't. So Lisa's not online. So everybody's in the room. Perfect. Okay, with that, we have some minute recommendations.
That the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting held on May 14th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Cynthia. Second for that. Thank you, April. Any objections? Seeing and hearing them, that's accepted. Are there any trustee items? Okay, seeing none. We don't have any presentations. That brings us to our information items, trustee calendar and upcoming events. And Danielle.
Thank you. So this Friday, we have our Pemberton Transportation and Maintenance Recognition barbecue lunch at the Pemberton Bus Garage. I believe Rebecca and Melissa are attending.
No, Melissa's going to be attending. It's Blackwater Creek Sports Day, so I'll be going to that.
Anyone
And
else?
I did message Melissa.
Okay, thanks. Is anyone else able to attend? Anyone else is welcome to attend. Okay. So Melissa, I think there's one recognition certificate to give out. I believe Kirsten will be there. So see you there.
Looking forward to it.
And then next Sunday is the Whistler Secondary graduation. And Cynthia, you're attending?
I will be there.
Is anybody else planning on attending? Oh, you have a wedding?
Oh,
Oh, really? And then next week we have our board education session, which is a book review. So I think Archie already reached out to everybody. I think most people are attending. Is anyone not able to attend?
I'm not attending.
Okay. So just so everybody
Not
knows-
attending, but I will zoom in for the
Right.
special meeting.
I was just gonna let everybody know.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, it's all good. So, because we actually weren't able to get our long range facilities plan in time for this meeting today for the finance committee meeting from the architect. So we actually have to call a special board meeting to get that approved. And so we were going to do that on the same day because most people will be here already for the board education session next week. So it'll just be like right after. It should only be 20 minutes. But we do have to have it. It has to be approved by the board by June 30th. So just
I do want to point out respectfully to the architect, but just to be clear for the public. So, and for the finance department, that finance team was ready to go, had everything in place, and all in for all intents and purposes, it was meant to be today. But the architect is dealing with a huge volume of work and was unable to unfortunately meet our deadline. Although we thought it would be met. So I just want to, for the record, support staff and having the work ready to go for this meeting. So apologies for the delay and apologies for having to tack on some additional work on the education session day. Thank you.
I have to leave by 11:30, but it says it's over at 11. You say 20, so we should make it. But I don't have to leave at 11:30.
yeah, I think actually Colleen has to leave early too. She has a meeting in the afternoon. I don't know what time, but so we'll try to make it at 11, just back to back.
And that's a 9:25 start,
No.
9?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Thanks. I know it seems kind of odd that it said 9:25 on my calendar. Okay, adjust.
I'll check my calendar.
Oh, okay.
Be here.
Any other questions? And then also, July 2nd to July 5th is the CSBA conference, and I don't know if you want to give an update on that. Based on.
Sure.
Sure.
So because both Saskatchewan and Manitoba have offered announced a no travel advisory, they're asking that people, because of the wildfires and the evacuations, they have no accommodations available anywhere because of I think there's about 30,000 evacuees in those two provinces alone. Never mind that there's issues in Ontario and in Alberta as well. So they have decided to cancel the conference in Winnipeg, and Danielle had, I think at Paul's advice, given us some great advice on purchasing cancellation insurance on our flights. So we are working on recovering that. They've gone to a full online version for this conference.
Thankful that we did that.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
oh, it's been a challenge though. We're spending hours trying to.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
It's like 2 seconds.
Is that's it?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
If it's online, can any of us attend some of the talks, or is it only the people who would have registered that could have access?
Well, I'm going to be unable to. So I'm not sure if they're offering refunds or not, or if
Yeah.
We could
if
transfer.
we're
maybe.
already being transferred to you.
Yeah, I mean, if they offer a refund, I would say take it. But if they don't, and there was an opportunity to jump in, there might be some interesting talks
I think
if we could access it.
I read in that message that they sent, it said that they were going to refund the cost of the registration by 50%.
Oh, okay.
So there is a bit of a reduction in the cost of the participation. And so
But they may have a full cancellation, like if you.
I don't know. About
Anyway,
a
our
cancellation.
check.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
refund if you can get it, but if it's going to be there, nice.
Okay.
If we got to pay half anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
And they compressed it into 2 days as well.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Are you still planning on going, Cynthia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, except my day vanished.
Online.
Well, yeah, I think it's the second, the third and the fourth.
Oh, I might go to do that.
Online.
You might have accidentally booked a flight somewhere. Okay.
Okay, yeah, so we'll look into that a little bit more and see what. That is all I have, I think, for, oh, sorry, I did put in the board meeting dates for next year. There's an attachment in there, so everyone can take a look at that and ballpark it. There was, I think the only one weird one was
June.
November as well. Well, November's just a bit weird for us because it's the board meeting is just the day after Remembrance Day,
Mhm.
but June we have it again 1 week later. Just to give us a little bit more time to wrap up the year for the school year ends.
Well, just again, pleasure of the board. If that works for folks, let us know if it's actually inconvenient, and if you'd like us to revert it back to the 2nd June, that's absolutely fine. But given opportunities to report out at the end of the year for the year in review, et cetera, a lot of these things aren't necessarily completed mid-June. Sometimes it's ministry stuff that comes last minute and whatnot. So it just provides a little bit of a buffer, and it's a little more closer to the end of the school year. However, if it doesn't work for the board or for trustees, I'm happy to revert it back to 2nd week. We just need to hear from you. So take some time to review and let us know.
Do we know when the November, December Academy is this year? Yeah, the dates. Right.
We'll check, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything in the finance.
You had your hand up?
I think as long as we, you know, if we do this and we know now what the next year is going to look like, we can plan around it. And if we have a really clear conversation, most of these dates line up really good for me. So
Great.
I'll work around the ones that don't. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and again, thank you to Archie and Danielle for working on this, because every year they present to us at this time what the next year's schedule will be. I know I've in my head didn't put in, sometimes it's the third.
Yeah,
but now that
we know.
Yeah, but anyway, they do this every year, so just to acknowledge. Yep,
On the
April?
November meeting where it says that it's. Was that just a note for us that we know, or is it, do you think it's troublesome being the day after the long weekend?
Well, it's not a long weekend because the
not a
11th will be a Tuesday,
Oh, so Monday is
school.
school, Tuesday's off, and then we're.
Yeah,
No, staff can,
it's fine.
staff will be ready.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just a note.
It's just a note, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, it's just for us.
It's
Yeah.
just a note, or we're talking about here.
Okay, it looks like Archie's found the BCSD trustee academy dates. It's November 27th to 29th.
Similar to this year, right?
It's usually like,
November, this,
was it end
yeah.
of?
Sometimes
Okay.
early December, sometimes
Yes.
late November.
I think the only time it was December was when it was
First
the election year.
After the
Oh,
Like right after the election, that first one that I went to was in December.
Yeah.
But they said it was because of the election and giving trustees a chance to get sort of,
Okay, I thought there were more like that, but I could.
that's what.
When you start talking decades of stuff, everything blurs. Okay, any other questions?
all I have on trustee calendar.
Okay, do we have anything, because last year we had some sessions in August for strategic planning, is there gonna be?
So we are, I'll speak to that later as well, but we're meeting with Kevin June 30th, the senior team with our proposed work plan. So we're working through that. So we didn't put anything in just yet because we're not sure, but the intent is to be done June. But if we need more time.
What do you mean, done, Jean?
2026.
2026.
Okay, so. I'm just wondering if we should have it in our mindset that maybe there'll be a day or two in August
understand.
again, like last year.
As a
Yeah,
unlikely, it would be more be likely that we would use the Wednesday that we have in reserve.
one of our Wednesdays.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just as
Yeah,
as
I
a heads up, as
appreciate
we make plans, Melissa.
I don't know if it makes a difference, but there is no school on November.
I was wondering if that would be a pro B.
It's almost never.
Yeah.
So I just pulled up the calendar and day and move. Monday from. That's better than the.
No, we'll be ready, because if there's school, for example, when schools are not in staff,
We're still here.
we're still here.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate the thoughtfulness for staff.
Okay. Anything else? Nope, doesn't look like it. So next up, we have our school learning plan schedule.
Yeah, so just checking in with the board that the spring and for fall and spring is still working for the board. I will share that our principals really appreciate the opportunity to choose either fall or spring, and if that still works for the board, they would love that consideration to continue. And so with that in mind, Archie did a lot of work. Thank you, Archie, in looking through dates that would work. So this is a proposal, and recognize too, this is our proposed dates, and knowing that things come up and sometimes things do change. So I just will also acknowledge and say thank you for all of your flexibility, because you've all stepped up and in to cover for each other as necessary. And for support principals or staff if they needed different dates as well. So big thanks from the principals and from staff for that. And again, these are the proposed dates. So if anything pops out right now, absolutely let us know. And if anything else pops up, once you have more time to look through this, compare your calendars, again, let us know. But our intent is to hold these dates Because there's a lot going on next year in the district, so lots of competitions for everybody's time.
I don't see the date for the,
Sorry, I think Celeste had her hand up first.
I just don't see the date. I know it's not school learning plan. But for the welcome back barbecue is another thing that happens.
Yeah, we haven't done the whole planning of the year yet.
Oh, okay.
This is just the,
It's generally about the third week in September, generally. Celeste?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so all of these dates work for me, which again lined up really nicely. I really love to attend I can do any of them. So when I guess Archie's the one that's gonna be putting people in. So any gaps that you need filled, I can do, but I really would love to attend the middle school and the high school in Squamish, if possible. Sometimes I find going year over year to schools, I like to go to different schools, but also seeing things year over year, it really helps to bring the picture together of like how these plans develop from year to year. So if I can just say that out loud, but put me where you need me in terms of filling the gaps as well.
Thanks, Celeste. Oh, I don't see Kilcoolum on here.
On the bottom.
It's on the very bottom. It's a school visit. Oh, this year we did a school learning plan plus school visit.
Sorry. We'll have to add that in.
And maybe the learning plan is after visit.
No, this year we did it separate.
It was in Mercy Secondary,
I
right?
missed that. Did you meet?
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
It was school visit.
No, that,
It was a permanent secondary the day we had
Yeah.
our school board
Yeah.
earlier in the day.
Way at the bottom, 27.
that's a school visit, but usually there's a learning plan as well.
Oh, the learning
So
plan.
we'll
Oh, sorry.
have to add
That's what we
that
just-
in.
Okay, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Yeah.
Okay,
It'll be
those
same
are
as
added
before.
in.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you mind adding?
So if we can make sure that we have in person.
Yeah.
For Jillian when she drives up. I guess probably better the sooner we populate this, that everyone can get it on their calendars.
Oh,
So, it is-
right.
well, or she'll probably,
Oh.
I don't see anything that's glaring to me that can't work around, and it'd be nice to get all of us into some schools.
Yeah.
And share the workload.
I think if anybody sees any dates they can't make, let us know as soon as possible and we'll start.
Yeah. Naturally, I want Blackwater if possible. My heart is. Okay, anything else you want to add on the school learning plan?
No, thank you very much. And yes, Archie was planning on following up. This is just for information and we'll look through it all. Thank you so much. And thanks for, again, just, I know the principals, the staff really appreciate your presence when you can make it at the schools. It's well exercise.
Okay, and next up then, I don't see any other hands. The District of Squamish Portable Washroom. And Danielle, is this the one up?
Porta potty, yeah, probably Highlands. So staff contacted the District of Squamish probably about a month ago, asking for them to put a porta potty on site. There has been like a lot of change in the different people of the District of Squamish who are in that area. So the person that's there now is new and he was actually away for some of the month. So anyways, we did put a request in and they haven't complied yet. So there's no porta potty there. We've been asking for it, like updates pretty much weekly. So we did let the District of Squamish know that we were going to lock the gates there at the Ride Hub because we didn't want another weekend to go by. I mean, human feces on the grounds at the school. So we've been locking the gates starting last week. I just want to mention though that the District of Squamish did let us know that they're heavily involved in the fire situation too. So, but they said that they've been trying to get porta potty in there. So anyways, temporarily, there's no access to the Ride Hub on the weekends if the gates are. That's the update on that one.
Okay. Let's see, any questions? Feeding Futures with Paul and Mary?
Yeah, so it's
Right.
one of the, I'm pretty sure that the Olin and before, but I want to welcome her to the meeting and thank her very much for the great work she's doing. And she's our feeding futures coordinator. And Mary's going to give us an update on what's happening in Squamish with the program.
Yeah, so just here to provide a quick update so everyone's in the loop as programs move forward. So over the last year and a half, 2 years, we've been piloting out some different programs and expanding meal programs. And then we've been working with our nonprofit partners to see, what expanding those programs look like and what's the best fit for all of those pieces. And so we're moving forward with a partnership with Squamish Climate Action Network. They're getting access to the 55 centers commercial kitchen through the District of Squamish for free. They're just signing a lease now, and so we're looking at kind of transitioning our programs in Squamish to be under that one umbrella to really help, centralize things and provide some consistency across schools in Squamish, and also, really improve quality and the efficiencies there and costing. So over the next little bit, we'll be working with our existing partners to transition those things. So Squamish Helping Hands are involved in that transition and helping to support that as we build out programs in Squamish to help make sure that students can get access to high quality, nutritious food in a really low barrier way. So I wanted to make sure everyone was in the loop on that. It's a really exciting partnership. Squamish kind of been doing a lot of food and garden work over the last 12 years in partnership with the school district. So it's a really great fit to really build off of that. And just there's some things out in the community as they're hiring a chef and working on building out that program. So just wanted to make sure everyone knew what was happening and happy to answer any questions about that.
Thanks, Maren. Celeste?
Thank you so much for coming and talking to us today, Maren. Maren came and presented at DPAC 2 weeks ago now. I can't remember how long ago. So really thankful for the work that you're doing. Just so I understand, so is what you're saying, what will happen is currently vendors for the program are businesses in the community, and that will switch to food that's prepared in the commercial kitchen that belongs to the District of Squamish. Is that correct?
Yeah, so currently our programs are supported by a lot of different partners. So some of them are businesses, some Squamish Helping Hands, some of the purchasing from a grocery store. So instead of all of those different moving pieces happening, it'll be centralized under a partnership with Squamish at the commercial kitchen.
That's amazing. And will there be information in the paper about, this is kind of big news. It feels like a really big deal.
Yeah, we're working on a press release to go out over the summer, but just wanted to make sure, as they're doing some hiring and that kind of thing. I just wanted to make sure that people knew about it first, and then we'll do a bigger press release.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. And then, so presumably, some of the meals, but I have a child in the system. We participate in the program. Very thankful for it. And so, presumably, when the purchasing power that will exist when people are purchasing lunches, more of the money that's left over will go to having additional food available that is at no cost to other families. Is that true to say?
Totally, yeah. So we'll still have a model for parent contributions and just to ensure that we have that financial sustainability piece, but then that'll go back into the program. We're looking at ways that we could do that. So it's, programs offered for free, and then maybe there's a donation for parents, and so they can also get a tax receipt, that kind of thing. Is what's happening in other communities for other nonprofit partners. So we're figuring out some of those logistics, but that piece will still be a part of it and then go back into the program. So we can
that's really wonderful. And is this is just part of your portfolio? You have planned all of this
in partnership with
the others. Okay. And I just want to say, for the benefit of the board, the work that Maren is doing, it was just really highlighted, the approach that she is taking to educating and informing families is just so inclusive. And I'm so thankful that we have someone with the breadth of your knowledge working for the district, because it was very apparent in the presentation that you gave and the way that you responded to the questions of DPAC. It's just really, really amazing work. So thank you so very much, and look forward to the press release. I guess we'll see it. We won't have a board meeting for several months, but if you are able to circulate it to us, Chris, that would be great. Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, you did a great job then.
Thank you all.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for coming in.
Maren. Just maybe Dr. Gordon as well. The reason to get the smart is available the rest of the day.
She's fully booked with different community vendors and partners and meetings and things. So
So that's why we did it this morning and not later this afternoon at the regular board.
Okay.
So we would appreciate that, just when you do the summary, it'll report out, because we know it's called, hopefully better, more attendance during the open board meeting. In our committee meetings. It'd be great for the public to hear.
We hear about it, or
Yeah, as a report, maybe an item to report out.
Speak to it.
There we go. Thanks, Paul.
perfect. Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to our discussion items, our 2025-2026 education session topics. And Chris, I see you are there.
So hard to believe we're already in the end of June, at least that's what it feels for me. I want to thank everyone for their participation in the education topics that we've had, and also want to recognize, that everyone has their schedules and positions on their time. So again, just really appreciate when you can attend to be able to attend. So for next year, turning our mind to that. Just wanted to do a general survey for some ideas, and again we'll tighten that up with an email with a document for entering in ideas to make some choices. But just wanted for staff, if you have any burning things that we really would love to learn more about, it can be existing things, it can be new things that have come up. I do know that Lisa Turpin had asked for a session on how what's the procedures, policies, etc. around safety for staff, workplace violence, reporting mechanisms, etc. So just want to put that out there for everyone that was one of the topics, not just me on behalf of Lisa, but for Lisa. We couldn't be here today, but I know that's one of the items she had put forward. So I'll open it up.
Celeste?
One of the things that I think would be nice to do, and we can all do this on our own, but when you do it as a group, it adds a little bit more pressure because there's so many things that can pull our attention away. It's just going through the hub and just having a re-review, maybe saying like, okay, this quarter, we're going to look at these topics, and then we're going to come together and talk about what we read, and think about if there's anything, just re-reviewing everything. There's so much good information on the BCSTA hub, and just on purpose going in and reading it again, and then having a conversation about what we read. I don't think that it needs to be very complicated. The other thing that would be nice to maybe have either a book or some kind of talk on is political advocacy. So those are the two things that I would contribute.
Celeste? Cynthia?
I was going to say, I think we should also make sure that we reserve one day for Indigenous education. I'm not sure what the topic will be. I know we had a lot of choice in what we were going to do this time, and maybe one of those options we could revisit next time.
Like of the selection we had, because I think we had four items or something, 3 or 4 items.
Yeah, and I think there were some really interesting opportunities for some real growth and some real learning from those other opportunities. We selected one that I think is going to be really valuable for this year, but I think that we shouldn't just forget about those ones for the future.
Maybe. So when do we want to make this decision? Probably sooner than later? Do we have I'm asking you, yeah.
Okay. So again, following this meeting, I think we can, by the end of, I'll say the end of next week, because I know it's a busy time. We can again send out a document for your thoughts. I will take all the suggestions. I think the hub is an easy one because we can maybe even go through Archie and say, here are some of the topics, and then people can indicate their interest. Will we share the Indigenous education options and for advocacy piece, and again openness to other ideas. But we'll send that out, and then that will give us time to a new time to put your put forward, so that by August we'll have a good sense of what we would present in September. And then the board can determine in what order, like, you know, you can have consensus vote or however you want to move forward and say, okay, here are the 4 or 5 topics that we'd like, and this is the order that we'd like it to be done. So I think we've got time. We won't do a session in September anyway. It's too busy a time, as we know, so.
Well, I would be interested in adding in a piece on, I spoke to Gordon Lee about this at AGM, as well as the new president, Casey Walker. So we had a speaker on, it might have been the first night, and I can't remember her name. You guys might.
Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah. Anyway, it's just on conflict at the board table. And I think that would be could be useful for us. And they did just talk about me being able to provide something like that, maybe to the branch.
Yeah.
So at their cost. So it's just something to follow up on, perhaps. Anything else? Yep, seeing and hearing nothing, then we can move on with the meeting with the Minister of Education and Child Care debrief. So I think this is for all of us to let us know what you thought about that. And I'll just go around the table. I'll start with you, Cynthia.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking up that person's name. Okay, the debrief with the minister. I think it was a really valuable opportunity to speak with her. And I think like we could all review what we said and what happened, but I think what I want to just mention right now is it might be really valuable for us to write her a little note of thanks and then also include in that a review of what we spoke about.
Yep.
I think that's all I want to say right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that could be valuable. I don't know how we go about writing that letter, but I do think it would be,
Absolutely.
yeah, good to just like thank her. It was like she's a busy woman, a lot of districts, so it took up a lot of her time to do that. And then just reminder of what we think is important and what our needs are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Rachel?
Yeah, I agree with Cynthia. I mean, there needs to be some follow-up from the conversation. It was just a discussion. There wasn't anything answered or conclusive about it. So it was nice to meet the minister and see how open she was. But I'd like to see the follow-up from the meeting.
Thank you. Celeste?
I have nothing else to add. I think that Cynthia's idea is a really good idea, and I thought it was a good meeting. We used, every minute that was available, and so thought it went well.
Thank you, Celeste. Melissa?
I agree, same.
Okay, Rachel?
I was really impressed that we actually used it every minute.
Mhm.
And it exactly on
Through the
time.
last
That was
minute, yeah.
super impressive.
Just so you know, we got lots of time into our agenda today for our debrief.
Oh, no.
So.
We're not going to use every minute today.
We're not using every minute today, no.
We did a really good job, I think. We did, and I'm 100% behind Cynthia's meeting and follow up. Said a lot of good points.
Yeah. Well, I guess like just to do a little recap, I think it was fantastic that we were able to address some of the issues that have been pressing for quite some time. Like we were able to face or Zoom to Zoom screen to screen, talk about the need for seismic upgrading at some of our schools and how we've been asking for this for so long. And even though there are pressures on other districts that, when enrollment in a place like Surrey is surging and they simply don't have a classroom, but this is like fundamentally really important that we have a safe space for all of our students. So I think putting those two conflicting needs right there up front present for her to hear and see, I think that's a really nice, I don't want to call it a wake up call, but a really nice highlight of how important our needs are as well. Melissa spoke about having the traffic control in Pemberton, and I could see on her face, she was like, whoa, she would have no idea how significant that was. If you just get a piece of paper that says, oh, you know, we need some traffic control, things are not great. But when we had that face-to-face opportunity to speak, I think it really made a big impression. April had an opportunity to talk about how important it is that we stick to the strategic plan that the province is decided that this is the way we want to present education. Like our pedagogy is strong, and in the province, you know, our province of British Columbia is one of the best education systems. And even though there sometimes are pressures to deviate from the way we do things, we can't like let that affect how we do things already, because we know that the way we're providing education to students is one of the best ways in the entire world. And so it was really nice to be able to have an opportunity to continue to advocate for that kind of pedagogy. I think it was important. I think just having that face-to-face talk and discussing those issues, discussing, like, I know she hears from everyone, and every minister in every area hears about the financial pressures that we're facing. But it was really nice to say, you know what, we had a 1% increase, which is really great. We're happy for any sort of increase, but inflation is at 2% and cost of living is at, or 5%. Like, all the other pressures are bigger than the increase that we were able to obtain. And so just having that conversation is important.
Thanks, Cynthia. So April, just 1 second. So I'm going to have my say.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I jumped in before you. Sorry.
We didn't go over that. We didn't complete the circle.
Oh my gosh,
We didn't
so
complete the
rude of me.
circle.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No problem. I just wanted to say that, so when she was first appointed last fall, she did call all board chairs and have a conversation. So many of these items that we raised, their call up last week, I think it was, or some of the same items that with conversation with Chris, that I brought forward when I spoke to her in November or whatever it was. Also had a call with, there's a new ministry infrastructure, and had a conversation with her as well. And that was, again, the seismic piece was raised again, you know, at that point. So, so some of these items were you know, brought up again. Some were new, like the education piece, ensuring that we stick with the current model. It was reassuring when she mentioned that there's no plan to change it. So that I thought was important. Also, and because this is something new that's arising, is the childcare. Seems like they're not going to be funding it beyond like 1 more year or something like that, I think. And whatnot. So I thought that was important that we get that on the radar. And I 100% support a follow-up letter, highlighting the pieces that we raised. So, April, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just triggered when we talked. Yes, I was very happy that she said we're going to stay the course and that we're not going to fall to the pressure of the notion that we're not already covering the basics. So the whole movement that you hear out there about getting back to basics, I'm glad we kind of put that a bit to rest. But when I asked her about the assessment piece, because I was concerned that the ministry, the one piece that they brought forward that I've seen is this the phonemic awareness piece and the chart. And as I said in that meeting, if for teachers, for parents, for students, for everybody, what becomes valuable is what is assessed. And at this time, I haven't seen much about how we're assessing the competencies in a curriculum that's now, 15 years old. And we still haven't had that assessment piece beyond turning it back to self-reflection for the student. And Chris said in the meeting, don't worry, April, it's coming and I'm going to tell you all about it. So is this the time?
Nope, the time will be respectfully, so again, in my year.
Okay.
So the ministry puts forward, here's what we're going to do, and then I report back to you and the public, what did the ministry actually do and what's coming, and that piece around the assessment is coming in, so I'll ask.
Okay, thank you, Chris, because I'd like to hear what that is, because it's been a long time coming.
It has.
April, any further input?
Can I share something just as an observer? Sure. And again, I know folks have mentioned it, but I really want to say truly, and I think it's important that the public hear this as well. I would say this is, well, there's been many things, but again, the board was incredibly engaged, each and every one of you. Had something to say or something to support. And I think it's important for the public to have that confidence in this board, that when it comes to education and what's important and the plan, strategic plan, that you're all in it and behind it. I had no doubt, but again, it was really heartening to see that. I think it was a very clear message from my point of view, what our priorities are. And I also want to assure the board, I know we've spoken about this before, but I'll just say it publicly again, that in the separate meetings with superintendents, and if I may, with the secretary treasurers, similar concerns and priorities were shared. So I feel that there is, while there might be some disagreement sometimes, even across the province from different boards around some things, the fundamentals around ensuring safe schools for all kids, whether that's because of seismic upgrades and awesome facilities, or psychological safety, for difference and diversity. That is a consistent message. And I will say that again, it was I felt very clear to the minister what the concerns were. And I just again want to thank you for representing the district so well.
You think I have one final piece that I thought was awesome, that the MLA was on the call as well. So, and I see we're seeing the importance of just engaging all the political entities within our district, and the MLA lives in the district as well. So that is something that's worth acknowledging. I don't see any other hands up. So that brings us to our next piece, student engagement. And Celeste, you would ask that this be added to the agenda.
Yeah, the question that I had was just around anything that we can do to allow, probably in the next school year, opportunities for engagement with leadership students, or any other opportunities to actively have trustees interface with students more, and what that could look like.
Okay. I'm going to jump in and just say that, and I think I responded to your email likewise, that I found being at PSS a couple of weeks ago, awesome opportunity for student engagement. So I think a lot of the showing up at our partner group meetings when we have student leadership representation there is imperative. Also, being part of the school learning plans in our schools, that provides us with a great opportunity. I find that when we have our board meeting days in a school, so we usually have one in Whistler and one in Pemberton, and maybe we should do one of ours in one of our schools here as well, because I find, just being in the hall and opportunities just to engage with students, because we're not necessarily getting balanced snapshot when we have just the presenters coming, but without talking to some of the other students and stuff. So I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on further. I know we have in the past years I've tried to get student leadership to come and be present at our board meetings and stuff, and it's really hard to get them throughout the corridor. And then they're all very involved in everything. Cynthia has her hand up, and that's us.
I think it will be really great to see what comes out of the student engagement that we have when we look at the cell phone policy again. If there's an opportunity to get some information from all of the students on how they feel that's going, or changes, or whatever that survey looks like. I think that's one place that we're already looking forward to having a little bit of student voice and student engagement in. So I think that's an encouraging step forward.
Thank you. Celeste?
No, I was just going to clarify. I think what I'm asking is above and beyond the stuff that we're already doing. And I wasn't necessarily thinking having leadership students come here, but perhaps one of us just sitting in on one of their meetings and see what they're doing and being accessible. If they have any questions about, the structure of the system and who we even, like, what does a trustee look like? I don't know. So I would be curious to attend a student leadership meeting, not to even talk, but just to be there and observe and be present and answer any questions that they might have about the work that we do. So just above and beyond what we're already doing, which, as you said, it's not that we're doing nothing, and perhaps I can do a little bit more research into what's being done in other districts. We heard how important student engagement was at the BCSTA. And so, yeah, anything that is possible, I would be curious to know about.
So with that, I could see us extending an offer to the student leadership to see if they have interest in,
Exactly.
like, I don't want to impose or.
Exactly, yeah,
You know,
no, make it, extend the offer, and if there's interest.
Yeah.
Be available.
Just from my perspective, absolutely. And I think I can, well, collectively, but at the end of the day, myself, can absolutely do a better job in encouraging, supporting principals and clubs to extend those invitations, because we do, say, please, if something's happening, please engage with, invite trustees, because there's been actually quite a few things at schools around student voice, and there's been panels, and I know that we can do a better job of ensuring that you are made aware of these opportunities. Sometimes they're in the day, sometimes they're in the evening, so I recognize, they're always to attend. But yeah, I think that's thank you for bringing that up, and we'll really work on providing more opportunity for engagement. And then the student leadership, you're absolutely right. Every year they come at least twice. They're supposed to. And I will mention we did have some personnel changes, and I know that sort of fell off the radar this year. So we'll recommit to doing that, because I know hearing from students is often right, a highlight of your meetings and of your days, and kids have important things to share. So thank you for bringing that up.
And then attending I think I know they changed the name this year, but the 24-hour drum.
Yes,
Which
always.
is a fantastic
that's a
opportunity to engage hundreds of kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, April, you had your hand up?
Well, thank you, Chris, for telling them that, we always or would love to come to anything that you have, but maybe we, as a board, in September should just send out a letter to, like, make a letter and send it out to all the schools that were here. We love to attend your events, even in a less formal way, like I went, only because my grandson is there, but I went to the sports day at Garibaldi Highlands, and it was great. Like, the kids come up and chat. Yeah, no, that's
Okay.
Like the little kid, it was great. The kids come up and chat to you in in an informal way, and it's kind of a nice thing. But maybe we should just put it out there officially. It wouldn't take much, I don't think, in September to write a letter, send it to all the schools. We're here. We're available. Just tell us.
But as long as we are committing to this, but I don't want to offer it and then have no shows all like.
Right, I agree with you. But I
Because
think
we have like 15 schools.
yeah, but I think we've been, yeah.
No, but I'm saying if you're having all these events,
Yeah.
I'd love to attend and then we don't do it.
Yeah.
But no
Well, I'm
one,
committed to that.
no one can make it, but it's 15 schools, so.
I know, but it's a good way. It is. I agree. It's a good way to get out into the buildings, and the school learning plan is great, but it's very formal. Often only involves well, no, that's not true. We get into classrooms and sit with kids and listen to what they have to say. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a
But
thought.
in addition, I think Colette's asking for.
Yeah.
In addition.
In
to
addition,
that.
so that might be a way to get an in addition.
Okay. We have 7 trustees. If 7 trustees can commit to attend some of these functions within the schools.
Yeah.
And then we can offer to go.
No,
But I don't want-
most of them are during the day.
Yes, and I don't want a school asking us and
then it's not.
repeatedly and then have no one
Right.
attend.
Fair.
So.
That's more like dinner lighting.
Okay,
With the flash.
so we're still
better.
live, by the way, so.
That's okay.
Anything else? Hey, do we have any questions of clarification from the public? Okay, with that then, I think we've completed the business of this agenda and we are adjourned. And Archie, if you can disconnect live.